Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I am speaking with Casey Ahern. She has just released a fantastic new track called The Cows Came Home, and I am super excited to talk to her all about it. Casey, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, all good music deserves to be talked about, and this song is fantastic, as I mentioned before we started recording. I want to hop right into it. I want to know, what does the song mean to you? Like, what inspired you writing it? What's it all about?
Yeah, so the cows came home kind of came up. I was talking to my boyfriend at the time, who is now my fiance,
Nice.
actually. Uh,
Congrats.
Thank you. But we were talking, and neither of us have really been in a serious relationship before. And I asked him, "You don't ever wonder what else is out there or who else is out there?" And he said, "Call in the dogs, put out the fire. The search is over. I found the one." And
Love
so
it.
I wrote that down and it kind of inspired The Cows Came Home. So I took it to my co-writer, Caitlyn Dykes, who also kind of had a similar experience in the way that her husband came into her life when she was not expecting it. So we kind of wrote about that and just our personal relationship, mine and Wyatt's, my fiance's
Mhm.
personal relationship. But it's really about finding the one when you're not looking for it and it almost happens magically.
I love that. That's so romantic and heartfelt all at the same
Thank
time.
you.
It's like, no, but like now you have the song as a time capsule to look back
Mhm.
on for basically the rest of your life. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean the song itself sounds amazing. Did you have any outside help putting it together in terms of like a team or producers or anything along those lines?
Yeah, so I worked with Nathan Meckel and Mark Nemick. They're here in Nashville. They call themselves the Buzz Brothers.
Love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're awesome. They
Very
work as
cool.
a collaborative team, and they really helped me shape the song and get it ready to produce and record. And
Sure.
then all the musicians on the track just put their own flair, and just hearing it from like the guitar vocal that I sent them or they got to listen to, and then putting like the steel guitar on, the fiddle, the acoustic guitar, everything.
Mhm.
They just bring their own touch to it, and it becomes like something that I never would have imagined.
Totally, it's like this little world of sound that opens up, and I
Mhm.
have to say though, like, while there is a ton of amazing instrumentation coming across, it's also sort of, like, minimalistic in a way where it's not overwhelming, and it does touch on so many styles and genres and stuff like that. If you had to sort of describe it in terms of like, "Hey, listener, this is what you're about to get," what would you say?
Oh, I would say definitely country. I think with more on the old school or like organic style of country music, but
Mhm,
with a bluegrass flair with like the fiddle and the real strong three-part harmonies coming in on the choruses,
totally.
which I've been on the biggest bluegrass kick lately, so it kind of lines up with where my ear's at right now.
I love that. I feel like bluegrass is making a resurgence. At least,
Mhm.
like, I mean, obviously you're in Nashville, so you're probably surrounded by it all the time. But even just like globally, or at least in the U.S., it feels like there's all these bands popping up, and like I love it because it's such a
Yeah.
wholesome, like classic-y vintage sound, but in a modern
Mhm.
world. I don't know. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's awesome.
Um, Looking forward though, obviously, I wanna keep the focus on this, but I wanna talk about the future. Do you have anything else in the works? Are you the type of artist that is always working towards the next thing?
I it's funny, it comes in waves, I think.
Mhm.
There's times where I'm writing song after song because I'm just in that mindset, but right now, I'm just kind of giving myself a little bit of breathing room. I felt like the last year was really heavy on writing
Yeah,
and kind of getting into that mindset, and I almost found myself very hung up on it, and very critical with myself and
sure.
what I need to write, and I'm kind of like, "Okay, I need to step back," because even just I've found that even just enjoying life and the experiences you get through it give you things to write about, so I'm just letting it
Right.
come
No,
naturally and,
fully
yeah.
agree. I fully agree. It's like you can't force creativity, can't force the creation, but also you can't force life experiences. You can't be purposely doing things in order to write a song about it later.
Mhm.
It's like you said, it just has to sort of organically happen and then you'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
yeah, you can't rush art. There's nothing about that. How long have you been playing music for as a whole, or I guess just involved in it?
So as far as I can remember, I was
Nice.
singing to like Doris Day musicals
Love
or
it.
things like the old black and white TV shows that or musicals that my parents would show my sister and I.
Mhm.
And then I picked up guitar, I think around 7 years old. So
Damn.
it's been a while. And then I cut my teeth really in California, where I'm from originally.
Okay.
With my band there, I started playing shows at 16 out there and then just kind of did the live show thing, and it developed into, okay, I need to actually have songs to put out so
Right.
people know what they're getting themselves into when they come to the shows.
Was there something specifically though that like turned it from more of a hobby to like I want to be in a band making music, or did it just sort of happen?
It just sort of happened. I think it was always in me. I just kind of knew from the time I started singing and writing and playing guitar. I was like, all
Sure.
right, this is my direction. This is where I want to head. And just kept following it and pursuing it from there.
Love that. It's like do whatever makes you happy. Completely
Hmm.
understand.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, now that you've been through this process of making music and releasing it and really going from the writing stage to the clicking the submit button, is there
Mhm.
something that you look forward to the most? The like the single thing that makes it seem the most worth it in the end?
I think the I think it's a twofold thing. I think that the
Okay.
biggest thing is um when people come to me and say, hey, they've listened to the song and it's touched them in some way that's deeper than just, oh, I love the song, or oh,
Right.
it's catchy, or this and that. I had a single, I think it was a couple of years back now, didn't even get a goodbye, that someone came to me and said, hey, it reminded me of my parents and my relationship with them. And it just, I was like, okay, wow, that's something that is
Yeah.
personal to that person and they can relate to it. And then also just getting the message out there. I try to write with some sort of like moral. I'm very strong on my moral compass. That's something I
Sure,
very,
sure.
very hold to me, very close to me.
Seems
So
rare nowadays, so keep
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. But so I try to write with some sort of like message in mind. And I think for the cows came home, the biggest message on that one is just being fine with who you are and being happy within yourself, because that's when those people that are meant to be in your life will gravitate to you.
Mhm.
And I think that's really strong with The Cows Came Home. And I hope that when this one releases, that people come to me and say, hey, you know what? It's given me that kind of outlook on life.
Totally. I love that. And you know what? It's so tough nowadays because I feel like people listen to music for the way that it makes them feel, like instrumentally and productionally and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And there's so few people that actually sit and listen to the lyrics. So when someone does come up to you, took your words, actually tried to connect the dots and make a story, I feel like that has to mean the world because that's arguably the most personal part of the song. Like it's you putting out your personal experience. And
Yeah.
yeah, it does feel rarer and rarer nowadays because yeah, I mean, music just, it's all about like the drops and the
Yeah.
effects and the novelties and the gimmicks rather than like, hey, this is a piece of my life, like enjoy it. So
Hmm.
has to feel the best, just a roundabout way of saying that.
Yeah. It feels good when someone connects to it and they can relate it back to their personal life. And
Exactly. Now, are you playing shows? And if you're not, is that something that's in the works or in the future?
so I've been asked to do a couple rounds upcoming, so I'm trying to figure out my schedule and everything. It's kind of all over the place right now, but as of at the moment, I'm sort of stepping back a little bit, letting this
Okay.
one kind of release,
Yeah.
breathe, and focusing more on just what I want to do with music and where I want to go with it,
Yeah.
to be honest, because I think as an independent artist, you find yourselves a lot of the time getting hung up with social media or I have to do this and not focusing on the
Yes.
creativity and the artist side of things, because you have to be your own manager, your social media coordinator, you have to be everything for yourself. So I found myself getting so hung up on that I was almost like putting music to the side and the art and just being in love with it to the side. So trying to get back in
Yeah.
that mindset.
I'm so happy you said that because it's so true, and no one, not no one, but a majority of people don't understand that it's like it's not just getting in the studio and laying
Mhm.
down some tracks and calling it a day. Nowadays, making music and attempting to get it heard by people is a job in its own. And
Mhm.
yeah, as an independent artist who's supporting themselves or even has a limited team working with them, it's like you become more of a content creator than an actual musician, and it's so annoying. Like your music, you know what I mean? It's like who's best at marketing rather than who's the best musician, like it
Mhm.
should be. I don't know, I could talk about it for days because it's so freaking upsetting. But
Uh-huh.
whatever, I think when people listen to this, they'll be like, okay, she doesn't need to do like funny TikToks. Like we're just gonna listen to her music and
Oh,
that'll
yeah.
so
I'm so behind the game. I don't even have a TikTok, and I know that I need one, and
yeah.
I'm so behind the game, but there's a part of me that's like, I don't really like social media, so I try to, like,
Get it.
live the realistic life rather than the portrayed social media life. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I waited till this year to, like, get TikTok, and it has
Mhm.
absolutely ruined my life. Like,
Yeah.
my attention span is shot. I like, my comedy likes have changed, like, I don't know,
Mhm.
it's just the most worst addicting thing ever, but also a necessary evil at the same time. It's a whole thing.
Mhm.
Whatever. So, we're at the beginning of October, and it feels like we're at the end of the year. Do you have an outlook on what the next year of your life looks like? Could be personal, could be professional, and it could just include lofty goals of things that you'd like to happen.
Yeah, so I kind of looking forward, a big thing is really falling back in love with music, like the
Mhm.
artist side of music is a big thing for me. So just kind of letting it come naturally. But on the flip side, I guess it's hobby kind of turned maybe a little more career or at least side hustle. I have my pilot's license.
Get
Um,
out! That's
yeah,
awesome.
so I've been flying a lot lately, really focusing on building my hours to get my commercial license so I can fly and get paid to fly.
Dang.
So that's been a big thing lately. I think over the next year, that's a goal. And then also, our wedding is planned for next October. Actually,
Okay.
funny enough, it's supposed to be, this was not planned at all. It was just absolutely coincidental. We're getting married October 14th of next year, which is the same day that
The
Cows came home
release date.
this year. So
Love
it
it.
kind of lines up.
It was meant to be. That is beautiful.
Yeah,
That
so
is
that's kind of,
beautiful.
um, everything's a little up in the air, figuratively and literally, but
Yeah, actually. I love
yeah.
that. That's amazing. Well, you know, you can't plan everything. You gotta keep things loose, and you're gonna see what
Mhm.
happens. Whatever happens, happens. I love that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more for you. I
Mhm.
wanna know, what are you listening to? Just generally, what are you enjoying? What's at the top of your playlist, and anything you can recommend?
Yeah, it's funny, some of our good friends are really into Turnpike Troubadours.
Okay. They sound really
Oh,
familiar.
yeah, they sing,
Yeah.
one of my favorite songs by them is Long Hot Summer Day. That's a
Okay.
good recommendation. Again, being more in the bluegrass kind of
Sure.
mindset, Tyler Childers, is really good. Um, I'm trying to think of what I've been kind of listening to. A lot of like independent artists that just kind of come through on my Spotify recommendations,
Totally.
but a lot of bluegrass. Aaron Watson,
Okay.
who's more Red Dirt, Texas. Cody Johnson, who I absolutely love too. So just sort of in the a little more organic country kind of style rather than the pop mainstream stuff lately.
That's okay. You like what you like. Honestly,
Yeah.
the music is at your fingertips, and it's never been easier to find something new. Taste
Hmm.
can change in a day. It's wild.
It does.
Casey, well, my last question for you is basically for the person that is going to discover you from this, and for
Mhm.
for the person that is going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
First thing I would say is thank you. Thank you for listening, but also that when you do listen, really try to focus on the lyrics and listen to the song a few times over because I'm not the type of writer that just tries to fill in the blanks. I try to write with every lyric meaning something, whether it's abstract and personal or whether it's pretty straightforward, but really listen with intention, I would say.
I think that's a great answer.
Thanks.
Casey, I want to sincerely thank you so much for your time. please let me plug your music for you. The song is called The Cows Came Home. We will have links in the article so that people can listen and share and follow along and do all that fun stuff. But it sounds like the next year is looking extremely bright. So I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing more. And if not, that's okay. Just let it happen. You can't rush it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me and this crazy up and down roller coaster lately.
It's
So I
all
appreciate
good. All good. All right. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Thank you, you too.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.